Welcome to Saturday Night Life. Here's your host, Tony StCyr.
Hey folks, welcome to this edition of Saturday Night Life. I'm your host, Tony StCyr. Glad to have you tuned in on this Saturday night. Thanks for staying up. So many of my people tell me, Tony, it's so late. Why are you on at 11 o'clock? Well, because I'm on at 8 o'clock on the West Coast, okay? So we're trying to be all things to everybody. But we appreciate you staying up if you're on the East Coast, and we appreciate you tuning in no matter where you are around the world. Now, we got a power-packed show planned for you. I'm talking about one of the best gospel giggles you will ever see on television. I'll guarantee that tonight. We've got a power-packed show. We're going to talk about love since we are in February. And so I do want you to stay tuned and don't go anywhere. We got a lot to cover here tonight on this edition of Saturday Night Live, so stick around.
Introducing the new Liberty Hill Publishing book, Child of Lust by Tony StCyr, based on a true story. When a 16-year-old Southern Baptist girl from Fayetteville, Georgia, came up pregnant in 1958, the parents tried desperately to figure out a way to save their family's reputation and their soiled daughter's honor. Threats of violence were levied against the alleged father as anger ran rampant through the family. Was it rape or consensual? What was to be done with the unborn child? Would it be hidden, aborted, or given up for adoption? Was her mistake an isolated incident or a pattern of whorish behavior? Only Marilyn knows the answers, and she's not telling. Child of Lust is available at bookstores and online. Purchase it today.
Every moment pushes you to your limits, but sometimes things don't go as planned. 1 in 4 sports injuries result in a bloody nose. That's why we created the Nose T. No more endless tissues or sitting out of the game. It stops nosebleeds in seconds. The Nose T, because every second counts. Now available at your local Walmart store or at thenosett.com.
Now it's time for the Believer's Voice.
Hi folks, welcome to the Believer's Voice. I'm Tony StCyr, and on this edition of the Believer's Voice, I really have to behave because I have the boss with me. Joining me for this segment is my wife, Donnie StCyr. And Donnie, welcome to the Believer's Voice.
Thank you.
Now, I've invited Donnie on because, number one, she owns a business. And number two, since we are talking about love, and this is the season for love and so forth, we want to talk a little bit about that. Now, I do want to start by talking about marriage because, I feel like in society there is this anti-marriage sentiment that's taking place where it's almost as if there's a side of society that is pushing people to remain single. And I just feel like that, that's against God's word. The Bible said that it's not good for a man to dwell alone, and it is so true. And when I was a young man, I was looking for a wife. I wanted someone to be with, and not only for a family, but for purity. And I feel like that marriage also keeps a man and a woman pure before the eyes of God. And so, I was looking around and actually was praying about a wife, and I passed by this little church near my house, and the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me and said, your wife is in that church, just plain as day. And I was, what? Who said that? I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but I have. And a few weeks later, I drove back by that church again, and the same voice said the same thing. Your wife is in that church. And here I was driving around in my 69 Roadrunner trying to find me a wife, and the Lord's telling me where it was. So anyway, wasn't long after that, I went to that church, and I met my lovely wife, who was the preacher's daughter. That's right. She was a PK and spoiled rotten, you can imagine. And but we didn't really hit it off at first, but after praying about things, we got married, and that has been 45 years now.
Yep.
We've stuck it out. And I tell you, I just wouldn't have it any other way. We've got 4 children, all grown, all in church. We've got 8 grandchildren, and, and hopefully we'll see some great-grandchildren before too long. So it has really been one of the best decisions in my life to be married. I know there's so much out there. I even saw something recently where a lady was saying, "Are you married?" And then the girl said no, and she said, "Don't do it." Well, look, just because she's miserable, she wants to make everybody else miserable. Now, I'm not saying you can't be happy single, but you're not ever going to be complete, because you got to understand what God has joined together makes one. And you're not complete until you have that soulmate, till you have that person that you're going to walk through life with. And, and I can honestly say, I've talked to Donnie about this. I said it in a book that I wrote called Child of Lust, that I can't say that I really love Donnie as much as I do now, because love is a process. But I loved her enough to take her on as my wife, and she loved me enough to become my wife, and I become her husband. And so, but together over time, we learned to love each other and learned to tolerate each other, didn't we? So listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. If you ever hear that term, you better run, because there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. But we have made it 45 years, and I tell you, I told her, I said, if you ever leave me, I said, I'm going with you. So I said, if you ever go to leave and pack your bags, pack mine too, because you got to take me. So I just wouldn't have it any other way. So I know I've done all the talking, but Donnie, welcome to the Believer's Voice.
Thank you.
Now, we've been married 45 years. Now, I joke and say I've been happily married 43, and 43 out of 45 isn't bad. So some of y'all can borrow that. And I joke in other ways. Matter of fact, we've both put on some weight. And in my book, I say that we have to renew our vows, because there was 100 pounds there I didn't marry. I didn't say I do to. So anyway, but we cut up and have fun. And that's what it's all about. You can't take everything personal. You got to be lighthearted. You got to love each other. You got to forgive each other. You can have fun with each other. And over the 45 years that we've been married, what do you think is your favorite part of being married?
Well, I really like that we have our closeness together. You still open the door for me, car door. We hold hands. We come out of the restaurant, we grab each other's hand. Sometimes going down the road, we do that. I enjoy the time that you spend with me, and the things that you do for me.
And, and that's what it's all about, because, just because we got married doesn't mean we quit dating. I mean, we date all the time, and we still do things that we did on a date. One of the things that I really like is my mom and dad did this before their divorce, but I thought it was very unique. And when me and Donnie got married, we made a commitment. We got married on August the 18th, 1979. And we made a commitment that we were going to go out and celebrate our marriage on the 18th of every month thereafter. And in September, on the 18th of 1979, we were broke and busted, but we went to McDonald's and split a meal and had a Danish, and that was our first, most memorable 18th meal that I remember. And this has to be a Guinness Book of World Record. I'm just saying, because since then we have been out to eat on the 18th of every single month from August 18th, 1979 in September. We have not missed one 18th celebrating our marriage. Now, that is a date record of some sort. 45 years of 18ths. That's a lot of money out of my pocket, too, by the way. But anyway, but I think things like that are precious. They're unique, and they help keep you close. And one of the things, now during COVID, this plaque behind us, during COVID, that record was threatened. Okay, and I'm going to give kudos to Longhorns in Calhoun, because we were eating there quite a bit. We had shared some 18ths there, and we were planning on driving to Alabama to keep this record going while COVID was everything was shut down for COVID. And then Alabama shut down all the restaurants like in July. And we were like, we've got nowhere to go unless it's a drive-through. And that to us was not, the same thing. So I talked to the manager of Longhorns. He literally set us up a table outside with a tent, and they brought our food out on a cart. They served us just like if we were inside there on the patio at Longhorns in Calhoun. And just so we could continue our 18th trend. And I tell you, I just love them for it, and I've given them a lot of business for it because of that, because it meant a lot. They went out of their way to do this for us, and it really meant a lot. And we made the local paper, the Calhoun Times, and they come out and shot a picture of us, and it was quite a memorable moment, wasn't it?
It was.
And I tell you, those types of things are priceless in a relationship and in a marriage. And I just can't imagine my life being this happy without someone to share it with. And I appreciate having Donnie with me. Now, she wasn't a beauty queen. She wasn't a cheerleader. She wasn't part of some sorority club and Miss Popular and everything. Matter of fact, she was the opposite. Being a preacher's kid, in the 70s, wasn't very popular. But she was perfect for me, and we came together, and God joined us together, and we've been joined ever since. Now, we've not had the most perfect relationship. I don't know of anybody, that's going to have a perfect relationship. If you study the Bible and you study the Word of God, you're going to find out that the Bible said that you're going to have trouble in the flesh, all right? He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, or as Billy would say, he that findeth a wife findeth a good time. But no, seriously, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, but you'll have trouble in the flesh. You're going to have trouble in the flesh. You're going to have situations. But marriage is hard. Let me just say that. Marriage is hard. But you know what else is hard? Being alone. Yeah. Being divorced. Being on the Rent-A-Kid program, where you pick your kids up, give the wife a check, and take them back on Sunday. That's hard. Listen, anything you do is hard. I preached a message years ago from a scripture in Proverbs that says something about, I don't know if I get it exactly right, but it says, where there is no ox, the crib is clean, but much gain cometh by the ox. And what Solomon was saying is, if you're going to have the benefit of the ox, you're going to have to shovel poop, okay? That's basically what he's saying in his wisdom in that passage of Scripture. So if you want a good relationship and a good marriage, well, guess what? You're going to have to shovel poop. Now, and she shoveled a lot of poop, and I've shoveled a lot of poop, but here we are 45 years later, and we're still together. And one of the things that I enjoy about being married is, again, some of the same things you do, but knowing I have somebody to talk to. I mean, driving down the road when I'm traveling, I pick up the phone. I know I aggravate her probably more than she wants to be called, but I'll call and, hey, this truck just pulled out in front of me, or, I was just thinking about this or thinking about that. I mean, you just don't get that, when you're single. And I really, really love that. But I spoke about our children. Now, several years ago, you decided to start baking cakes. Mm-hmm. Now, why did you do that?
Well, my first reason for doing cake classes was we had our children, and I knew that one day they would have birthdays and they would get married, and that we would need to pay for cakes. And so I just decided that I would go and take some classes, and then I just fell in love with it and decided I wanted to do it all the time. And so I just kept doing it. I done their birthday cakes. Then when both of my girls got married, I was able to do their wedding cakes, and just kept going with it. And till now, I've been able to open my own bakery and get involved in it. And I love doing that and helping people. I get so excited when they come in and a lady the other day, I done her just a little small cake. It was a 6-inch cake. And she walked in and she goes, "Oh, I just love it." And she just grabbed me and hugged me. It just gave her so much excitement about her cake. And so I just like that. I like seeing that happiness on people's face. So I just enjoy doing that.
Now, one of the things that you came up with years ago was a pecan pie.
Yes.
Now, I write about this pecan pie in my book, Child of Lust. Yeah, shameless plug. Child of Lust on Amazon, childoflust.com. You can find it there. But I write about this pecan pie in the story. And it was so good, she took it to a party. You was working for Chick-fil-A at the time, and you went to their Christmas party, and who showed up?
Truett Cathy.
Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, showed up at this Christmas party, and tell what happened.
He loved it, wanted to know who had made that pie, and so I told him that I did, and then he started talking with me and wanting me to get in business. And he wanted to help me get started in a bakery down south.
And he did, and we actually met him, and he was going to help finance her in her own bakery because he loved that pecan pie. Unfortunately, we were transitioning from the area in a couple of years, and she didn't really want to build a business there and then turn around and move. So we did not accept his offer, and I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. We probably should have. But anyway, but that just tells you the type of pecan pie that was. If somebody like Truett Cathy loved it enough to try to set her up in business, that ought to tell you that pecan pie is good, and it really is. And she's got some ingredients that are secret, and she won't share them with anybody. But I tell you what, if you want to try to guess what that secret ingredient is, we'd love to hear from you. Send me an email to info@SaturdayNightLife.org. And hey, who knows, you may win a pie if you find out what it or figure out what it is. But anyway, Truett Cathy was real impressed with that, and that sort of gave you additional confidence, I feel like, to know that you could do this. And then you've done some inspirational cakes and things, but a few weeks ago, we sat down and I shared with you an idea that I had, and you decided to start making inspirational cookies.
Yes.
Now, these cookies can be shipped all over the United States. They don't have to be purchased just locally here in our hometown. So you can ship these, and you've got some pictures of them. We're just going to show those cookies right now while we're talking. So you'll see those cookies. They have Bible verses on them. Inspirational messages can be put on them. So if you know somebody that's sick, you want to send cookies that say, "Get well soon," or "Thinking about you," or, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, which is some young athletes' Bible verse that they usually wear on their uniform or whatever. So, anything like that, if that's something you want to do, Donnie is the person to contact. And tell them how to get in touch with you.
They can call me at 678-899-9496, and I'll be glad to help you out over the phone, or you can contact me on Facebook. Also, I have a website, and it is yeswecake.net.
And that's YESWECAKE.net. Yes, we cake. So I wanted to share, and you can do stuff for any holiday,
Yes.
any type of event coming up, family reunions. And what's the most cookies you've done at one time?
I had an order last year at Christmas for 600 cookies.
600 cookies.
And we got them done.
Now that's a lot of shipping. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to order 600 cookies, she can do it, but that's going to be a lot of shipping. All right, well, I appreciate my lovely wife being with me today here on The Believer's Voice. Anything you want to say in the closing?
Well, one of the things we forgot to talk about is I like matching us up.
Oh yeah. We, as you
Yeah.
can tell, we're matched.
Yeah.
But on Sundays we always match each other's outfit, and we people at church even comment on it, and if they see her first, they'll say, "Yep, Tony's dressed just like it." Or if they see me, they say, "Yep, Donnie's going to be dressed like him," and we usually are. And we've had a lot of other young couples that started doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate you watching The Believer's Voice here on Saturday Night Live. More coming up right after this.
From its early beginnings, Eagle Carports has quickly established itself as an innovative leader in the metal building industry. Utilizing a team of building professionals, Eagle manufactures a wide range of affordable products that not only look great, they're built with the highest of quality materials to last a lifetime. Whether your project is for personal or commercial use, let an Eagle representative assist you today.
Get ready for the gospel giggle.
Hey, folk, Billy Hill here. I wanted to stop by and let you know how the ministry's been a-going. You know, I accepted the call to preach, and I talked about it. You know, I couldn't find no job, so I started preaching. Hello.
Hi,
Who are you?
I'm your new assistant.
My new assistant? Well, corporate finally understands my value. This here organization done sent me an assistant. Nice to meet you, Miss Assistant.
Hi,
What's your name?
it's Hazel.
Hazel. Well, Sister Hazel, I'm Billy Hill. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Mr. Billy Hill. Nice to meet you.
Now, you are one of God's children, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm part of the family.
Okay, well, good,
Yep.
because I called you sister, you know.
That's
I call
right.
you sister if you ain't part of the family,
That's
you know.
right.
And so, well, Hazel, what's your full name?
It's Hazel Nut.
You kidding, right?
That's Nut with 2 T's. I like my name. I'm real proud of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I got the teeth to crack a nut, but I don't know what that's got.
No, not teeth.
2
T's.
teeth. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, 2 teeth.
Nut.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. All right. Well, I was talking about my ministry. You know, do you believe in reincarnation?
I ain't never really thought much about that.
Well, I hadn't either, but I've been a teaching about birds, and I was studying birds, about how that God used birds in the Bible for His will, and you know, I got to thinking. I read where a bird can eat 6 times its body weight without gaining any weight in a day.
Oh, my word.
So I'm thinking, if there is reincarnation, I'm gonna ask the Lord, let me come back as a bird so I can eat 6 times my body weight without gaining any weight.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I reckon I might want to come back as a bird, too, because, I mean, that sure would be nice to be able to eat and not gain weight. I wouldn't mind being one of them eagles he talks about either.
That's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
droppings.
Every moment pushes you to your limits, but sometimes things don't go as planned. 1 in 4 sports injuries result in a bloody nose. That's why we created the Nose T. No more endless tissues or sitting out of the game. It stops nosebleeds in seconds. The Nose T, because every second counts. Now available at your local Walmart store or at thenosett.com.
Introducing the Singer Showcase.
Some just see someone down on their knees, talking to the air, words lost on a breeze. Some just see teardrops fall into the floor. just a waste of time. Not anything more, but it's a direct line to the throne room, where you can find someone who cares. And if you need some proof, I can tell you there is power in prayer. I can tell you about the times the Lord gave me peace with trouble all around. He calmed the storm in me. And I remember when I cried out, He saved my soul. Some have their doubts, but I know that it's a direct line to the throne room, where you can find someone who cares. And if you need some proof, I can tell you there is power in prayer. He's always listening. Oh, that don't change. Don't miss this moment to call on His name, 'cause it's a direct line to the throne room, where you can find someone who cares. And if you need some proof, I can tell you there is power in prayer, 'cause it's a direct line to the throne room. Yes, it is, where you can find someone who cares. And if you need some proof, I can tell you there is power in prayer.
Hey, folks, don't forget, every Friday night, every Saturday night, that's right, at 11 o'clock, be sure to tune in. What's the name of the show? Oh, Saturday Night Live. That's right, don't you forget it. So you just go on to bed and get a good night's rest.
If you're enjoying Saturday Night Life and would like to help, you can send support to Family TV Now on Cash App.